to my channel. This is day 6 in my 7 Days of Beauty and the Beast series, counting down to the film release, which is coming out tomorrow. And considering how much I've been anticipating it, I'm pretty bloody gutted that I can't go and actually see it tomorrow, because this whole week I've been at the London Book Fair, and tomorrow is my day for flying back to Edinburgh, so I cannot see it tomorrow. But when I do, rest assured there will probably be some sort of all caps tweet going out of me just screaming that I am there and it is happening. If you don't already follow me on Twitter, by the way, I'm at BookerlyJones, so go and follow me there, please do. What am I going to say next? Right, what am I here for? That's also, today I have one tonsil that is massive, and all my words, I'm having to speak around it and it's quite distracting, so that's a true story. Today's video is actually a Beauty and the Beast book tag, and I've taken the liberty of smushing two ones together because I found an older one by Becca the book reviewer and a newer one by BooksAndJams. So I've actually taken questions mostly from Becca the book reviewer, but substituted out a few with BooksAndJams questions, and all the questions will be down below in the information box, and I'll sort of credit where they come from and I'll link the original videos, so hopefully it'll all make sense. But is that everything I need to say? Yes, let's carry on. Number 1 is Little Town, a character who lives in a little town and wants to escape, which I think is quite a literal interpretation, and I'm going to be a bit looser with it because I've chosen the character of Anne Elliot from Persuasions, which I have here in, oh, that's a nice bookmark, I forgot about that one, which I have here in a nice Word Cloud Classics edition, quite nice sort of flexi-bound faux leather. I love these. Nice end papers too, off topic. So Anne Elliot is a very wealthy young woman. Well, she's part of a wealthy family anyway, so actually for her time she has more freedom than most, but what traps her is that social status, is the snobbishness of her family, the interference of her friends, and her own good nature. And they're all things that lead to her rejecting a man that she fell in love with as a young woman. She's now 27 years old, which means she's no longer a young woman, she's an old maid. And she was persuaded not to marry this man because he wasn't of her station, and she's regretted it ever since, and then he comes back into her life again. So for me, Anne Elliot is someone who is living in a very confined space, not literally, but because, as I said, because of her social circle, her friends, her family, and her own innate nature. Number 2 is Belle, pick a character who loves to read, and for whatever reason at first I actually couldn't think of any apart from Kath in Fangirl by Rainbow Rowell, although Kath mainly just seems to love a certain series of books. She loves the Simon Snow books so much that she is compelled to write epic fan fiction about them. But then I also thought of Katie from the Lux series by Jennifer L. Armentrout, and Katie loves to read, and she also has a book review blog, which I thought showed quite a lot of sort of market awareness on the part of the author. Then there is also Jo in Little Women by Louisa May Alcott, and actually no, I think I might save her for later. Yeah, I'm gonna save my 4th one for a later question. Number 3 is Mrs. Potts, a nurturing and motherly figure. Choose a character who takes care of others, and I honestly cannot think of anyone for this, mostly because of that first part, the nurturing and motherly figure. I cannot think of anyone other than Molly Weasley, but I do feel like maybe if I had read Aristotle and Dante Discover the Secrets of the Universe, my answer might be different, because I understand that the parents in that book play a stronger role than in most YA books. Choose a character who takes care of others. I'm sure there's got to be some. I haven't read it yet, but come here. Like Miss Peregrine, right? I don't get the motherly vibe from her, but I assume that she's taking care of the children at her home for peculiar children, right? Is she an answer for this one? Let me know in the comments down below if you have a good answer for this one that is not Molly Weasley. Number 4 is Chip, adorable and makes us smile. Choose your favourite children's book. And I actually interpreted this to mean a children's book that I read as a child, but now that I read it again, I actually think I could have gone with any children's book I'd read at any time in my life. So now I'm kind of a bit torn, so naturally I'm going to give you more than one answer. First, The Animals of Farthing Wood by Colin Dan. I discovered this as a child and I love it as an adult still. It's about a group of animals whose woodland home is being turned into housing, so they have to form this very unnatural sort of interspecies oath not to eat each other as they migrate to a nature reserve called White Deer Park. They nominate Fox as their leader, but Toad is their navigator because Toad has previously been to White Deer Park. It's wonderful, I love it. But I also have this one here, which I didn't actually own this as a child. I bought this as an adult because I never owned it as a child. Every time I went to the dentist as a child, there used to be this sort of wicker basket of very old books under a table in the waiting room, and one of them was this Ladybird, The Sly Fox and the Little Red Hen, Well-Loved Tales, and this was published in... Sorry about that, I had to go and change the battery. So yes, this was published in 1968, which means that it was pretty old before I was even born, but nevertheless, I used to go straight for this one above any others in that basket, and I used to make my dad read this to me on repeat, and I'm sure it was something to do with, you know, making me feel less afraid of the dentist. However, I don't know why I chose this one to do that, because this book's pretty scary. It's about a fox trying to kill and eat a hen, and at the end, these two foxes have caught the hen. She's in this sack. They've taken her home with them to boil and eat her, and while the water is boiling in a cauldron, the hen escapes out of the bag, puts a big boulder in the bag so that when the foxes empty the bag into the cauldron, the splash of hot water actually kills them. And I'll always remember, see, there you go, they're emptying boulders into the cauldron, and then there they are dead beside the cauldron. And I don't know why I liked this, because foxes have always been my favourite animals. It's one of the reasons I love The Animals of Farthing Wood so much. So that's kind of twisted, but whenever I think about it, I smile and I remember that basket of books, and I remember particularly that the step into my dentist was polished brass, and I could always see my reflection between my feet. So, and actually I've just thought of another one which is going to cause this answer to be really long, but I'm getting carried away now. These were also published quite a long time ago. I think this one is 1955, 1960 and 1978. They are by an author called Barbara Slay. The first one is called Carbonell, the King of Cats, and it's about a girl called Rosemary and a boy called John, who sort of end up, I think they're sort of, it's almost like a play date where they're forced to spend the summer together, back when kids could just be friends even if they were a boy and a girl. And they go to the market to buy a broom for just like sweeping the house, I'm pretty sure, but they end up buying it from a witch, and the witch has a witch's cat who is in fact Carbonell, the King of Cats, who is not very pleased at being forced to serve as a witch's cat. So it starts this whole adventure. It's so wonderful, and I really, really recommend that you check it out. These wonderful hardbacks are from the New York Review Children's Collection, and they're gorgeous, except for one of them you'll see is slightly bigger, and that I didn't notice that for a really long time, but now that I know, it's all that I notice. So anyway, on to the next question. Number 5 is Cogsworth, a character who is the serious one of the group, and for this I have to go with Mary Bennet from Pride and Prejudice by Jane Austen, and in fact I almost went for her for number 2, Belle, a character who loves to read, because Mary clearly loves to read, but I think the standout factor for her, maybe just like in contrast with the ridiculousness of other members of her family, is how serious she is. She is so dour and sour. I'm not sure I ever see her smile in any of the adaptations, and I very much doubt that she has a sense of humour, but she's a book lover, so I can't, you know, I have a certain fondness for her. As for a more recent choice, I've mentioned one by Sarah Crossan quite a lot. It's a YA book told in verse about conjoined twin sisters, Grace and Tippy. Tippy is the more sort of dominant, outspoken twin, whereas Grace kind of retreats to the back a little bit, although she is our narrator. And Grace, again, in contrast to Tippy, feels like the more earnest and serious and quiet one. I really recommend that book if you haven't already gathered that from the many other times that I've mentioned it. Number 6 is Lumiere, smooth-talking, swoon-worthy Casanova. Choose a character with these characteristics, and honestly, my default answer for this is Captain Thorn from the Lunar Chronicles by Marissa Meyer, but I actually can't think of any others, and I know there must be some, so please let me know in the comments down below. And now that I'm thinking of it, I would love to read some YA with some womanizing characters in it, so again, recommendations would be great. Captain Thorn is wonderful because he really reminds me of Han Solo and Flynn Rider. He's that perfect sum of slightly, arrogant, cocky, morally self-serving and flexible parts. I love him. He's not pure as the driven snow, but he is innately like a good guy, and I do read him as a bit of a player potentially outside of the series, which is why the pairing that he finds himself in the series works so well, and it's got such a following. Number 7 is Beast, a character who is misunderstood, and for this I have to go with Mr. Darcy from Pride and Prejudice because that's such a large part of the book. The fact that his demeanour, his apparent arrogance and conceit and snobbishness is so widely perceived from the people, by the people around him. He is so unpleasant in their eyes when in fact he turns out to be quite a nice guy. But I also want to mention Rhysand from A Court of Thorns and Roses by Sarah J. Maas because, and again, this is entirely his fault because it's something he is putting out there willfully. He's thought to be this amoral, sadistic, evil character, but we soon learn otherwise, don't we? Oh, and then there's also Warner from Tahira Mafi's Shatter Me trilogy, but the light just changed and now I'm worried that I don't have enough time to finish this, so I'm not going to talk about that anymore. Finally, number 8 is Tale as Old as Time. Pick a book relationship you think will last through time, and miraculously, I only have one answer for this question, and it came to me so suddenly that I'm sure it's the right one, without spoiling anything, because I'm not going to talk about the ending, I'm just going to talk about the relationship. Arryn and Kestrel from the Winner's Curse trilogy by Marie Rutkowski have so many reasons to hate each other through the course of these books, and yet they fight so hard to be together. And they give up so much and they entertain giving up so much for each other, they would unmake the fabric of who they are to be together. And I just don't think that there's anything that could come along in the form of a pretty face or a handsome smile or just boredom along the marital line that would affect that. They are, for me, cemented. OTP of my heart, true love forever. They will stand the test of time, and they are my very easy answer to this question. So I hope you will check this trilogy out if you haven't already. That is the end of the Beauty and the Beast book tag. As I said, everything's going to be linked down below along with the other videos in my 7 Days of Beauty and the Beast series. This is day 6, done and dusted. Hope to see you on day 7, and do subscribe if you're not already. Bye!